How's it going, Godzilla fans, kaiju fans, collectors, and just general people of YouTube? This is Chanzilla 1964 coming back to you with yet another figure review. This time we're going to be reviewing the Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla 2003, aka Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Godzilla, pretty much. So, I understand this is like way after the figure, I guess, short that was meant for this guy. The figure review is coming out way after, but with my trip from Japan that you saw in the last video, or the haul from it anyways, there was a lot leading up to that, so I kind of put this on the back burner, but I'm getting into it now. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this thing. Starting off with detail. Detail on this guy is really, really good. For some reason, I always thought the back spikes for this guy was a little bigger, but I probably am wrong. Probably because I kind of relate this guy back to the 2000 figure where the spike is huge, but thinking back to it, the 2002-2003 Godzilla, the spikes was in fact a little smaller. So yeah, that was just one thing that I noticed, but that's just me. But I mean, the detail is just really, really good from all of this spiky scale detail that he has going on his sides, on his shoulders over here. I thought it translated really nicely for this figure. If the camera would just pick it up. Yeah, I thought it translated really nicely on this figure. Even the neck spikes over here, I really like how Bandai did them. I mean, he just looks really spiky, which is what he should look like, because this Godzilla looked really, really spiky, pretty much. And the cat face, I think, translates really well onto this too. Now, it has this weird little bend here, which makes his nose look flat, even though I think it's just kind of how the snarl is, because front on it looks totally fine. From the side over here it looks fine. Over here it looks a little interesting, but it's not something terribly noticeable. Besides that though, the face detail is really good, and even the tongue, there's a tongue sculpted into there, and the teeth are all very nicely sculpted. The neck detail is very nicely done over here, so is the chest detail. I really like how they did this part of the chest, where it translates from the neck to the chest, the middle of the chest anyways, the sternum, or it goes from these folds and then it kind of nicely transitions to this kind of scaly pattern. I mean, I'm just gonna kind of show you guys because everything else is pretty much the same. There's a little bit of spike detail on the leg here, but besides that, majority of the figure is just this scaling pattern, which turned out really nice. Yeah. And then even the feet, there's even the feet detail, as we're seeing for a lot of these figures for Godzilla. The feet detail done very nicely. No, not muted at all. It's very good. Even the hands, inside of the hands, there's some detail there. There's a nice detail on the underside of the tail here, leading up to the very tip, which is my favorite part of this Godzilla, that the tip is like kind of transitions to that nice little thin whip style kind of tail tip. I guess that's the best way to call it, because a lot of the Godzillas, the tip of the tails are very stubby. This is more like a whip style, which I really appreciate. So that's just about it for detail. For paint was perfect, practically perfect on this guy. Starting off with the spine, which is of course always the big contention. The spines, I would say they're perfectly painted. The bummer is that the paint cuts off right here though. The reason there's a little bit of silver is because I painted it on, as well as for the tip of the tiller. So practically perfect. I said practically perfect, not entirely, but I'm still glad we got paint all the way over here. This really nice silver paint for the spines. There's a bit of shading here too on the inside, even though that just might be the figure, but yeah. Then the toenails are all painted in this really nice bone white color. Same thing for the teeth. And the inside of the mouth is all painted up as well. Very, very nicely done. And then besides the spines, fingernails, and the mouth area, the eye for this Godzilla. Very nice gold color with that nice pupil thing going on. Eyes very nicely painted as well. Now, there is some quality control things with the eye, and that my copy, the eye was painted a little weird, where this pupil is smaller than this pupil, so I fixed it a little bit. But for me, that wasn't really a big thing. But that pretty much does it for paint and detail for this guy. Like I said, paint is nearly perfect. The only thing missing was over here, but that's really not a big thing because everything else on this guy is painted very, very nicely. Now, moving on for paint, we have articulation. Articulation is just about what you'd expect for a Godzilla figure. No tail articulation, 2 arms move, the legs move, and moment of truth, the head does in fact move 360, yes. So yeah, we have a total of 5 points of articulation, 5 points of articulation, all translating from the original 8-inch figure. Although one thing I will note is that this is by no means but one thing I will note is that this is by no means a 8-inch copy made smaller, because the stance is really different. It's not as hunched over. 2, the chest detail is definitely different. I don't have the figure on hand. It is packaged somewhere, so I cannot show you, but I can say the chest is definitely different on this guy, and the face too, because I don't remember the nose being that bent down, but you know. But yeah, it's not like this was a resized version of the 8-inch figure from this guy. This is actually a remolded, like a newly molded Godzilla against Mechagodzilla figure. So yeah, really, really, really good figure. And even the size comparison. Even the size comparison works, in my opinion, because I do remember Kiryu being a little bit taller than this Godzilla in the movie. And then just kind of, yeah, this is like, size comparison is perfect too. So I really have nothing bad to say about this figure, which is probably why this review is a little quicker than most, because I'm really going to call it here. This figure is really, really good. This isn't my favorite Godzilla, granted, and I might have triggered some of you guys there, I'm sorry, but we all know 64 is my favorite. But this is still probably one of the more higher up there Godzilla figures that Bandai Movie Monster Series has made, even though usually Bandai Movie Monster Series has been hitting with all their Godzilla figures. So yeah, I would recommend you guys do get this guy if you're a fan of the Millennium series Godzillas. And heck, this would just be one guy that you would need to collect to complete your 6-inch figure line for the Millennium Godzilla figure series, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You don't have to get them. You could get them. That's on you. That's all you. But that's all you. But with that being said, this is pretty much it for the video. This has been Chanzilla 1964 saying, if you guys like this video, do be sure to hit the thumbs up button down below. If you guys think I may have missed anything, or if you guys disagree that this isn't one of the more higher up there Godzilla figures, this is more of a mediocre Godzilla figure, do be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what you see on the channel so far, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But yeah, this is Chanzilla 1964 saying until next time, guys. Peace, peace.